Hey guys, it's me, and sorry if you can hear my washing machine. Sorry if I sound sick. I have a cold. It's not corona, I'm pretty sure, because I haven't really had any interactions with anybody with corona. And yeah, and also sorry if my hair looks a bit greasy. I am trying to let the natural oils make it a bit more healthy, because as you can see here, I've got a bit of breakage, whereas like the rest of it's down there. So I want my hair to get healthy, so letting the natural oils do their thing. It's really good for your hair. We learnt that in hairdressing school before somebody tries to claim that that's disgusting. But anyway, without further ado, this is my video on corona, which I've been obsessed with and studying for the last week, I guess, because I figured if I'm going to talk about it, I should know what I'm talking about. So I really love learning things, and this has actually been so interesting. I feel fairly confident to talk about this subject because of all the studying. I have completed some courses on the World Health Organization's web pages. One of them specifically on corona, and another one is like that I'm currently going through is a variation of different things, which includes corona. The first thing I want to point out to people is that the coronavirus is not just COVID-19. Coronaviruses tend to be they tend to be a family of viruses that happen to bind together, and they exist as a group, which can be really annoying. A lot of the time, corona is also zoonotic, which means that they come from an animal and have been transferred to a person, whether it be digesting and say the person has an ulcer or whatnot. I'm not really sure of how far zoonotic goes, but from my understanding in this specific case with COVID-19, it was related to stomach ulcers. However, I've not found any confirming information on that. They've just suggested it. It seems to only transfer through mucus, so you know, your saliva, or even if somebody say wiped their mouth or coughed on their hand and then put it on a pole, and then you've grabbed a pole and wiped your eye because you got like some eye boogers. It seems to be related to that, so you need some form of contact with some form of mucus from the body, such as saliva. And it's both asymptomatic, which means that like you don't necessarily get symptoms, or this is like the really concerning thing that I find the most concerning. It can last outside of the body for approximately up to 9 days, and it has a 1 to 12.5 day incubation period. Now, with knowing that, just be also wary that like a lot of the symptoms of a cold is, you know, similar to coronavirus, and same with the flu and a lot of those kind of things, because technically they are related in a way. Now, in terms of this specific one, there's a lot of misinformation where people are saying that diarrhea is not a symptom, but it's actually on the website in their course that it is a symptom. From my understanding, it's actually not necessarily the biggest symptom, but it is a symptom nonetheless, and I don't know why people are claiming that it's not a symptom, because it seems to be. A lot of people also claiming that you have to have a 38 degrees temperature. Now, although that's one of the things they look for, there have actually been people recorded with a lower temperature and still found to have had it. There's also the fact that people who have gotten tested, when they're in the early stages, it actually seems to be like, because they tested the first 100 people and a lot of them came back negative, and then they found out no, they were actually positive. It was just too early to tell. Now, some people have been questioning whether or not it is able to be transferred through sexual intercourse. From my understanding with my research, yes, but not like an STD. It's more of a case of you're in close physical contact with a person. It's not an STI or an STD. It's just a case of you can be close. Like, you would be exchanging like mucus and stuff. Like, your faces are usually like very close together when you're doing adult stuff. So that's something to also keep in mind. See, I would also be concerned with things such as the public restrooms. Like, would they be contaminated potentially? So cleaners really ought to be cleaning properly. I'm sure they would anyway. But there's also the fact of certain public restrooms, such as the ones on highways going from Victoria to New South Wales and all that kind of stuff, like Humes Highway for instance, they've actually got these trucker spots that the toilets don't actually seem very well maintained. If anybody's actually done a road trip, you guys will know what I'm talking about. They're these big metal tank things and they just don't seem very clean. So people really should be concerned about that too. That being said, now I do think it's important to be concerned, okay? But I don't think that justifies the pandemic kind of hysteria that we've been having, because under no circumstances should people be getting attacked and assaulted over coughing, over, you know, who has the toilet paper. Like, realistically, we are in a stage where we really should be taking care of each other and not, like, you know, just putting selfishness first. Because, okay, people who are in low income houses, they're the ones who are going to suffer because A, they can't buy in bulk. B, people are buying the dried food like rices, pastas, you know. These are staples in low income houses because they're cheap, you can buy them in bulk, and they'll feed a lot for a small packet. Now, the really sad thing is that those people are the people who are going to end up suffering, because when that food is all gone, you know, just because people were selfish enough to just bulk buy it all, how are those people going to make ends meet? How are they going to eat? And then you've got people who are bulk buying all this stuff. When they realize that that's not productive, what are they going to do? You know? I don't know if they'll even eat the food. Will they give it to food banks? Hopefully, if they don't eat it. But it's really sad to see how selfish civilization can be, and the fact that so many people have been so, I guess, aggressive and at the point of nastiness. It's just so disheartening and so sad to see. I'm concerned for if we ever have a zombie apocalypse. To finish up, I think that with a pandemic or with health things, yes, you guys should be concerned. You guys should be practicing health regimes, like wash your hands up to your elbows for 20 seconds with a soap, because the bacteria or the viruses, they will live in your fatty layer, aka your sebum layer, which is coating your skin. It's a protective layer on your skin, and if you scrub that off, you're washing the germs away. You're probably more beneficial with doing that method than using hand sanitizers, although hand sanitizers are good for when you're out in public. But there's just a lot of issues with what a lot of people have been doing. I personally have not been using hand sanitizer because I can't find it. I tend to use it with my partner because whenever we go out, like, he always has it. But I just, you know, with hand sanitizer, I feel like people might overly rely on it and take it as a replacement. Now, another option that people can do, which they may not realize, is things like dishwashing detergent. So if you get the $1 Woolworths dishwashing detergent, that's actually got antibacterial stuff in it because it's supposed to be like remove the bacteria from your dishes. So they're fairly cheap, and if you can't find hand wash, that could be an alternative. Although just be wary that it is drying on your hands, so probably pair it up with something like Soberline or whatever moisturizer you like. So you can do that too, and that'll, like, you know, be a cheap alternative, and usually they're quite concentrated too, so you don't have to use too much of it. That's really it. Just be cautious, don't panic, and don't be an asshole, and like, I'm sure we can get through this easily as long as everybody works hard and does their part in keeping hygiene, you know? Says she with the dirty hair. But I have a good reason and I haven't been out, okay? So, yeah. Don't bleach your hair too much either, because this is what happens, your breakage, and that's that. If you guys have any questions about anything you want to know about corona, I can actually try and research it and try and do some further videos, because honestly I'm really obsessed, like to the point where it's a little bit weird, but you know, it's all I've been talking about. So let me know if you're interested and I will look it up for you. Okay,